Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Firman Fadli bin Muhammad Mahroni. My matric number is 1181774. Right now, I will be presenting my part, the introduction of this research. First, the issue of the existence of God has been widely discussed in the academic world, and many scholars have laid out their own arguments regarding the issue. One of the famous scholars that give his opinion regarding this issue is Immanuel Kant, where he talks about moral argument, which then he postulates that God exists. He also gives his opinion on the definition of natural religion and how to understand religion from different perspectives. Thus, our main objective in this research is we want to give an in-depth explanation about the famous moral argument from Immanuel Kant that he used to postulate the existence of God. Next is the scope of our study. In this study, we more focuses on, firstly, the background of Immanuel Kant, secondly, the Immanuel Kant opinion on the definition of religion, third, the moral argument as proposed by Immanuel Kant in postulating the existence of God, and lastly, the Islamic perspective regarding Immanuel Kant's opinion regarding the existence of God. Next is the objectives of our research. Firstly, we want to describe the biography of Immanuel Kant. Secondly, we want to describe about what Immanuel Kant says about the definition of religion. Third, we want to explain about moral arguments as proposed by Immanuel Kant in regards to postulate the existence of God. And lastly, we want to give the Islamic perspective regarding Immanuel Kant's moral argument.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Firdaus bin Asman. My number matric is 1182657. So before I go through to do my presentation, I would like to thanks to our first presenter Firman and our beloved lecturer Dr. Marina and my beloved friends. So here, as you can see at the screen now, I would like to present about the background of Immanuel Kant. So first thing first, we go through to the life background Immanuel Kant. His full name is Immanuel Kant. He is German philosopher. The second one is he was born on 22 April 1724 Masihi in Königsberg, Russia, or nowadays we known as Kaliningrad, Russia. He died on 12 February 1804 at age 79, and he lived there for the most of his life. In addition, with background of Immanuel Kant, we go through to the education of Immanuel Kant. So the first point is Kant was educated at a good piety school and attended the University of Königsberg. He was privaduzer at the University of Königsberg and a writer. He was a lecturer on logic, mathematics, metaphysics, ethics, anthropology, and geography. The third one, he was banned from teaching or writing on religious subjects by the King Frederick William II that time, because political pressure from the Prussian government in 1792. But after a years, he came back with his lectures and he continued writing. Next, as you can see at your screen now, this is the book that we do our research. The title is Religion Within the Boundary of Pure Reason. So the detail of the book, the first one of his influential books. The second one, this book published on 1793. This book immense and lasting influence on the history of theology and the philosophy of religion. And the last one, it consists of 4 parts. So as you can see now, there is timetable that the topic of the first part, second part, third part, and fourth part. So last but not least, there is some others Immanuel Kant's book. The first one, the Critique of Pure Reason. The second one, the Critique of Practical Reason, and the last one, the Critique of Judgment. So based on what I mentioned earlier, he lived there for most of his life at Königsberg, Russia. Why? Because we know that he was born at Russia, he was education in Russia, he was lectured at the University of Königsberg, Russia, and he was published most of his book at Königsberg, Russia. That's why I mentioned earlier, he lived there for most of his life. So In our research, we want to study what Immanuel Kant thought of moral argument of existing court. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad Anigrai bin Ahmad Zabri. My metric number is 1181755. Okay, now we move to the definition of religion according to Immanuel Kant. Firstly, according to the article by LYPI 2017, Kant's most popular slogan when it comes to the role of religion in society is morality leads necessarily to religion. Then, in Kant's view, there are two types of religion, which is first, religion with regard to itself, and the second one is religion in relations to others. But Immanuel Kant affirms the moral aspects of the first type. For Kant, religion is essentially reduced to morality. So this indicates that the human is not directed by anyone or anything other than himself and his rational inner will. He repeatedly proposes in his published works and notes that viewing our moral obligations as divine commands is proper and also even necessary. Kant also wrote in the book titled Religion Within the Boundaries of Mere Reason, which is an ethical community is conceivable only as a people under divine commands. Next, throughout his works, Immanuel Kant constantly defines religion itself as the recognition of all duties as divine commands. So this definition appears in Immanuel Kant's second critique as an immediate outcome of his explanation of the postulate concerning God's existence. He is stating that in this way, which is through the moral proof, in this way, the moral law leads through the concept of the highest good as the object and final end of pure practical reason to religion, that is, to the recognition of all duties as divine commands. Then, based on journal by James DiCenzo, he stated that after Immanuel Kant presenting this definition of rational religion, Kant specifies that this rational understanding of divine command should be understood not as sanctions, that is, arbitrary and contingent ordinance of another's will, but it should be understood as essential laws of every free will in itself. So, for Kant, religion and faith are the results of moral. The essence of religion is morality. Therefore, Kant believes that religion, subjectively considered as the recognition of all duties as divine commands.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Wan Ahmad Azfar bin Rahmat Al-Mizi. My metric number is 1181772. Okay, so we continue to the moral argument for the existence of God according to Immanuel Kant. Kant is known for attacking three traditional attempts to prove the existence of God, which is ontological, cosmological, and physiotheological or teleological arguments. He asserts that all these theoretical arguments inevitably fail because they aim to gain some knowledge of the existence of God exceeds the capacity of human reason. Instead of that, Kant introduced a new method of proving the existence of God, which he believed will have a healthier impact on the way people view God, which is a moral argument. The moral argument is the claim that what is known a priori pertaining to practical reason can lead us to a conclusion that is metaphysical supreme, which is claimed that there is a God. Immanuel Kant's entire work is devoted to the issue of the supreme being's existence and justification. The ultimate goal of God's created nature, according to Kant, is man as a moral being. The world was created to meet man's moral need. After Kant, theology leads to moral theology, which is defined as stating the moral life is possible only if God exists rather than proving God's existence rationally. The moral argument can be simply expressed by three premises and a conclusion. First, the highest good is the necessary object of the moral law. Second, the highest good must be believed to be possible. Third, God is the condition of the possibility of the highest good. And the conclusion is therefore God must be believed to exist. Kant believed that the theological argument for the existence of God was unsuccessful, but he put forward the rational argument of believing in God as a postulate of practical reason. Kant held that a rational moral being must necessarily will the highest good, which consists of a world in which people are both morally good and happy, and in which moral virtue is the condition for happiness. The last condition means that this goal can only be achieved through moral action. However, Kant held that a person cannot rationally will such an end without believing that moral actions can successfully achieve such an end. And this requires a belief that the causal structure of nature is conducive to the achievement of this end by moral means. This is equivalent to belief in God, a moral being who is ultimately responsible to the character of the natural world. In a nutshell, Immanuel Kant proposed that people need to attain highest good in life because to achieve virtue and happiness, we should follow the moral law. But even if we follow the moral law, we cannot be perfect and achieve complete happiness and virtue in this world because there are people that have followed that moral law but still cannot attain complete happiness. Thus, Kant postulated that God must be exist in order to human to achieve perfection and complete happiness in this life. That's all from me. Thank you.
Next, we will move to the analysis of Immanuel Kant's moral argument for the existence of God from the Islamic perspective. Before I continue, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Luqman Hakim bin Muhammad Nazri. My matric number 1181761. In Islam, the God must exist and not just a postulation like what was proposed by Immanuel Kant in his moral argument for the existence of God. The existence of God can be proved through mind, reason, and logic. As Allah said in the Quran, have they not thoughts about their own self? God did not create the heavens and earth and everything between them without a serious purpose and an appointed time, yet many people deny that they will meet their Lord. In another verse, Allah said, were they created out of nothing? Were they the creators? Did they create the heaven and the earth? No, they do not have faith. Ibn Hajar explained the meaning of this verse by quoting the scholar Al-Khattabi. It is said the meaning of the verse is, were they created without a creator? That is impossible, as they must have a creator. If they deny the creator, then they must have created themselves. And that proposition is even more foolish and false. For how can something without existence create anything? If they reject these two opinions that they came to be without a creator or they created themselves, then the proof is established upon them that they were in fact created. Scholars derive from this verse and other logical train of thoughts, sometimes referred to as the cosmological argument, which determines that God as the uncaused cause of first cause is the most reasonable answer to existential question. The logic of the argument has been summarized in the following step. Everything in the universe that has a beginning must have a cause. The universe began to exist, therefore the beginning of the existence of the universe must have been caused by something. The only such cause must be an uncaused cause, or God.
Okay, at last we have arrived to our conclusion. As a conclusion, there are many theories that insist on proving the existence of God, especially from the cosmological and teleological theories. The cosmological theory is revolving around the law of cause and effect. Because the universe is an effect, it must have a cause. The teleological argument stated that the universe reveals and reflects substantial and intricate design, implying the existence of an intelligent designer. But from Kant's moral theory perspective, he believed that morality binds and obligates us all, and that God is the one who created the moral law. All in all, from the Islamic perspective regarding the proof of the existence of God, the law of cause and effect in the cosmological theory is more suitable to prove the existence of God rather than the moral argument by Immanuel Kant, as what is believed in Islam, that the first cause or the creator of the universe is Allah. And that's all from us. Thank you.